Start. Brilliant. Right. So welcome everybody, and thank you for coming on quite a nice evening actually. So thanks for coming. It's nice to see so many people. This is the third one. Done Peckham, done the Moon. You're doing fiction. Yeah. So it's a fantastic pleasure to welcome you and to do this again. We're getting bigger crowds every time, so the books must be good. I think it must be getting the word is spreading. So without further ado, I'd like you to just raise your glasses and wish this book all the best and all the success of the others and more. So please, to Johnny and his books, thank you.
Thank you.
And I'll hand you over.
Thank you. Thank you.
And can I just ask that everybody signs the guest book on the way out?
Yes, please. Yes,
that'd be great.
If you could, thank you very much indeed, Paul. And thanks for having us here tonight.
Pleasure.
And I want to thank everybody for coming along this evening. And it really got me a bit churning here. I'm a little bit nervous. It's like, being in number one court at the Old Bailey, but not as bad. But you're a lovely bunch of people. The thing is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to read you a couple of readings from this book, and what you've got to bear in mind is that this is a fictional character from South London. He's an actual gangster. He's in organised crime. And now he's taken on a part-time position as a hitman. He doesn't want to do this job. He's reluctant to do it, but that's how it is. That's his situation. And the book is about this guy. He needs to get away from it, but he has to be clever. So I'm going to read you a couple of bits now. Well, I will apologise if there is some swearing. You've got to appreciate that we're talking about a gangster in South London now. We're not talking about someone who works at the bank at the in the city. He's a gangster, and this is his mannerism, and this is his character. So please forgive any swearing. So I'll ask you in advance, okay? It's not like that all the way through. I can assure you. What I'd like to say first of all is that when I started this book, I wasn't very well. As most of you know here, I'm a cancer sufferer and I'm in remission and I'm okay. And I was halfway through this book after coming out of hospital after a major surgery, and it was a little bit touch and go for me. I didn't know whether or not I was going to make it or not, because I'm on an actual cancer trial, so it was just touch and go. So when I got home, I was so eager to finish the rest of the book. And believe it or not, and I've never achieved it since. I've done 90 pages in 4 days, and that's a lot of wordage. And believe me, I mean, I needed to finish this book. It just really got me. This is the first time I've actually sat down and wrote about a fictional character, and it was important for me that if anything happened to me, that this would be left behind, and I could say at least I've done the autobiography. This was the fiction, so that's it. So I'm quite proud of this, and even now I look at it and I read it, I still see room for improvement. I really do. It's just a question. I mean, I only started writing since 2008, and already I've had 3 books published, and I've got 2 on the go. So I'm looking to have my 4th book and my 5th book out by the end of this year, and I've got a good team around me, which I'm really proud of, and they've really helped me along the way. And so as those that of you that are here tonight, you've bought my books, you've enjoyed them. I know you have, and I've had the criticism, and I've had the good things that have come from it. And I just hope you enjoy this book. And I shall start. It's two places where I want to start. The people I was now employed by didn't hang about. This hit had to be done that afternoon because the target would be at the perfect place, a particular golf course which I was familiar. The info on the target was that he would be playing his round of golf alone because he was getting himself familiar with the course for the forthcoming tournament. It was pointed out that this afternoon would be exceptionally quiet on the course, and the 16th green would be the perfect place to carry out the job. From my own knowledge of the course, the 16th green was out of sight of all the other holes because it was positioned in a hollow, almost like a basin area. The bonus for me was that it was edged by a wooded area with plenty of cover, so it would be simple for me to tuck myself up and wait for my victim to pop his head up. At 2 o'clock that afternoon, I was plotted up in the wooded area by the 16th green. My target had already teed off his round of golf alone an hour and a half before. I observed him from the car park just before positioning myself on the green. It was now just a waiting game, and my calculations based on his golf handicap suggested to me that this geezer would be sticking his ugly mug up into view within the next 10 minutes. The information pack was accurate about the quietness of the course, because there were only 3 pairs of golfers playing at that time, and there were about 10-minute intervals between each pair's teeing off. I learned later that day as to why the course was so quiet. Not being a football fan, I had no idea there were playoffs live on TV that very afternoon. This showed me how much thought and planning had gone into organising this hit, and I felt relieved I was working for professionals, real clever people. I was dressed in overalls because it would be lessen the chance of forensics. It was 1995 and forensic science was making many major breakthroughs, which was now making it harder for criminals to get off the hook. On all work like this, you would have to destroy all your clothes afterwards, usually by fire. It was also much cheaper to destroy a pair of overalls than a 3-piece suit. I heard voices in the distance shout, "4!" And just then a golf ball clattered into a tree and landed just on the edge of the long grass within the 4 metres of where I tucked up in the wooded area near the edge of the green. I would have liked to have taken my hat off to the geezer. Not only was it a blinding shot for me to get into a position, it was also a hole which was completely out of sight of the player. Now I knew why he was getting familiar with the course. 5 minutes later I heard the sound of the wheels of a golf trolley with its clubs clanging about in the bag. Then my man came into sight. First he stood at the crest of the basin, wearing his 3/4 lengths +4s and a bright yellow jumper. He was looking intently for his ball, as I was crouched just behind a tree with shrubbery either side, completely motionless. Then the sound of the trolley started again, and as I looked up, he was heading straight for me. My nerves were being tested because I had a slight tremor in both legs and arms, along with a cold sweat running down my back. When he got into the ball's location, he was actually within spitting distance of me. I could even hear the fucker breathing and muttering to himself. I watched him as he turned towards my position to pull a putter from his golf bag. He then turned his back on me to position himself. I slowly stood upright without making a sound, levelled and aimed the Beretta, complete with silencer, at his head and fired once. There was the dull thud of the gun firing, then instantaneously the splatter of blood, bone and hair as the bullet entered the back of their head, followed by a heavy thump as his body hit the deck face down. I stepped out of the brush, took 4 steps towards him. I was now standing right over his twitching body, fired 2 more shots to the head, thinking to myself, job done.